No.
Okay, stream's on, just to let you guys know.
All right, thanks.
Oh, there is just like a lot of things, a lot of small things about, you know, like just catching. I don't know, just a lot of small things, a lot of
But what?
just
Challenges?
this. No, just this in general. It's like a lot of small things.
You got questions on?
No, just that a bunch of small like gophers and like just a lot of small things. Just
How are you, Pat?
drive me nuts.
Okay, how are you?
Tired.
I would imagine.
It's good though.
When'd you get home?
We got home Friday around 6 p.m.
You've had a couple days.
Had a couple days. That's about it. But it was. I've had a few days. Still a little
Great
tired.
time, yeah.
It was an adventure.
Did you go to Il Bordello? No.
Yes,
Did
we
you?
did. We biked there because the tube is down. If they're on strike,
Yeah, they're on strike. Alan told me that.
that was difficult to get around.
Did you like your meal?
I thought it was great. I did not know it was going to be a full-size pizza. So yeah, because it was good. I really liked it. Kim really loved her pasta that she had, and then we went down and had a beer at Captain Kidd as well,
Wasn't that
stuff
cool?
like that. It was very cool. It was very cool. I got about 1 minute.
What did Kim have there? Pasta?
It's one of those fancy pasta names that she had. I can't remember. Carbonara, maybe?
Yeah.
I can't remember.
Good pasta there.
We got in there.
I almost asked you to say, get the veal chop. They have a veal
Oh, I
chop.
probably would. That would have been a tough sell.
Sauteed in.
So we got there right before they closed lunch, so we had to order immediately. So I didn't get a chance to look at the menu fully.
You know, they're open for lunch.
Well, they are, but they closed at 3, and we got there at like 2:40, and they're like, I'm like, oh. So I wanted to do lunch there quick.
They're open for lunch. I'll have to remember that.
Yeah,
Yeah, that's a nice place.
it was nice. Really enjoyed it.
Clerks tonight.
Multi-clerk.
Yeah. Clerk set. Okay, we're good.
I got 6 p.m.
Yep, that's good.
Is everybody ready? I'd like to call the Oglesby City Council meeting to order. Roll call, please.
Baldridge.
Here.
Cullinan.
Here.
McDermott.
Here.
Moyle.
Here.
Curran.
Here. For 3, please stand for the Pledge of Allegiance. Pledge allegiance
to the flag of the United States of America and to the republic for which it stands, one nation, under God, indivisible, with liberty and justice for all.
All right, number 4, public comment on agenda items only. Seeing that there's none, we'll move on. Number 5, I have correct July 7th, 2025 minutes.
Yeah, so
go ahead.
this is me. I only threw this on here because we're in the process of, I guess, recompiling our municipal code, and I had to submit ordinances to Municode, who compiles our code. And while going through minutes to try and find what has been added, I noticed a typo on the July 7th minutes. It reads, a motion was made by McDermott, second by Cullinan, to approve ordinance number 1293-072125, so forth and so on. That ordinance is actually 1292070725, to my understanding. So there's that needs to be corrected, it looks like. And yeah, I know that needs to be corrected. Now that I'm looking, there might be one other thing that needs to be amended. That's not really a pressing issue, but looking at that other thing on here, it might be worth just tabling it for now.
Agreed.
There is at least one error there that needs to be corrected. So actually, let me go through those with a finer tooth comb, and then at the next meeting we'll correct them.
Do you think the other, whatever the error is it more than just grammatical? Is it like?
No, it's
another
I think it's
ordinance number?
another ordinance number that's off. So
Okay. Anybody else say anything else on it, or we can just table it for next one?
Yeah, I should have, I guess, read over.
I'll make a motion that we table it.
The suggested changes aren't in the shared drive, right? For this
no,
one?
No,
Okay.
It's
I just wanted to make sure it wasn't
It's just an
missing it.
ordinance number that needs to be changed, but I'm looking at it, and it might actually be 2 ordinance numbers that need to be
Yeah,
changed.
there's a
I
couple
could be
things.
incorrect, but I'm pretty confident I'm not. Let me look into that second ordinance number that needs to be corrected.
Okay.
So,
Could I get a second?
You have a motion from Greg.
Can I get a
Yep.
second?
I'll second.
Roll call, please.
Baldridge,
Aye.
Cullinan,
Aye.
McDermott,
Aye.
Moyle,
Aye.
Curran.
Aye. Thanks for checking it. That's good. Might as well get it right. Okay. Number 6, approved minutes from the August 18th and September 2nd, 2025 regular sessions. Normally, these are routine items, so I just go through them really quickly to see if anybody has any comments, but since there was some concerns last time, I'll take this item to go around the room if anybody has anything to add.
Again, I looked through both of them. I don't have any issues with them, but I don't believe, Patty, if I'm not mistaken, the August 18th ones haven't been updated because you didn't receive any feedback on what to do with them.
Right.
Okay, so we're kind of at an impasse with the August 18th minutes. Patty didn't get any direction as to what to do with them, so if everybody's fine with the September 2nd ones, or if people want to approve the August 18th ones now, I'm fine with both sets. I'll vote to approve them, up to the rest of you.
All right, go around the room. Moyle?
Well, I agree that we need to correct the July 7th minutes because there was an error, but I think we also need to make sure that going forward our minutes are correct as well. So as far as the August 18th, I don't see any changes and I have the same feelings as last time. September 2nd, this one looks like it was done in an entirely different format.
So-
Is this still the current?
No, if you check your drive, there's,
okay.
There's an updated version of
Oh,
them.
okay.
Okay, well, she's
It's
looking
the
at,
same format.
while she's looking at that, we'll continue on. McDermott?
Well, I agree with Hillary. We need to look into that September 2nd. We'll go from there. I don't
Okay.
know about approving it.
Baldridge?
Yes, I agree that July 7th does need to be updated. September 2nd, I don't believe we have a problem with that. As I stated in the last meeting where we did not pass those minutes, I stated at that time that I expected them to be accurate.
Was not given any feedback.
Okay, that's why I didn't say it, because I said I expected them to be accurate. I wasn't trying to alter anyone's opinion or force my opinion on anyone, and I still expect them to be accurate. As they're written, they are not accurate.
Okay. All right, so I look at August 18th. The only feedback we had from last meeting was, I guess there was some spelling errors in there.
Which I don't think have been, is,
So we,
Yeah.
I mean, I think we could have just approved them last time with the corrections to spelling errors. But if there's something more that needs to be changed, these spelling errors, I think
Is
we
this the
agreed
one
that
where
this
we
is where
needed
the
the
location is if
clarification?
somebody specifies what the
On the
concern is.
18th.
I think that's a fair point.
So if somebody has something that they'd like to have modified with it or direction to give the clerk, now's the time.
Well, I'd like to thank Commissioner Moyle.
Yeah.
She wrote an email to all of us, and she gave us a couple options to rectify this situation. I read it and was very appreciative that she put time, effort into that, and sent that to us. In response, we received an email back from Jason. I'd like to read that now, and I do apologize for some of the words, but this is what we are continuously subjected to by him, and I feel that it needs to be said. Here's his email. I think this email is likely in the weeds a bit and does not support what the council last stated publicly about minutes. Granted, you were not on at that time, but the last public consensus was that no council member would say anything to the minutes writer about the content of the minutes outside of a meeting for anything. They were supposed to talk about the issue with the minutes publicly, which didn't happen. Now, keep in mind, I don't agree with that. I mean, if someone sees a spelling error, a grammar error, or a factual thing wrong before the meeting time, I think that's when this should reach out to the minutes writer to give them a chance to send out corrected ones prior to the meeting. I mean, why should we wait until a public meeting to embarrass the writer publicly on errors? But because we have had some morons with huge egos in the past
Morons? That says morons?
that were really concerned with how effing stupid they looked, they wanted to make sure that kind of stuff didn't point them in a bad light. So they either wanted some facts or quotes removed to be more general in nature. He goes on to list a few examples of which I can prove are lies. I won't spare the details on that. And then he says the list goes on. So if you want to discuss how we handle minutes again in the future, be my guest and put it on as a discussion.
Until that happens, my job is to ensure that the council actions are carried out in a manner that was designated by the council majority. Because if we want to go back and try to point out specifically how shitty our old clerk was on her last day when she obviously lied about leaving on her own, and somehow I'm responsible for the behavior and intentions of others, then I'm gonna wanna go back to those dozen or so other items and quotes I'd like added to past minutes that points out the times other commissioners have been some of the shittiest, wrong, lying, self-centered, emotional, crying dumbasses this city has ever seen. Again, not making anything up, just more details of factual things that have happened in public meetings, but were not included in past official minutes. So again, last meeting, the only thing brought up publicly about the minutes were spelling. So that's the only thing that should get changed with them prior to next meeting. Rich had an opportunity to speak to them, but chose not to, which I just pointed out. I did speak to them, and I asked for clarification, and I still ask for clarification. One of the things that I would like clarified is the part that's written here as to public comment. And at that time, Rebecca Kleinert, city clerk and resident, speaks to McDermott in response to a question he had about her retirement and states that she is retiring because that is what she wants for herself. Kleinert thanks the clerk's office staff and her fellow city employees. Becky addresses Commissioners McDermott and Balders for the trust that they've had in her and recognizes them for their hard work and dedication to Oglesby and the role they play as commissioners. Kleinert thanks Moyle, as a new commissioner, for sacrifice and dedication to being involved. Kleinert acknowledges Cullinan for working well with the office and with her role as city clerk. Kleinert addresses Curran in his role as mayor and gives her impression on the importance of working together and being a good leader. And that's where I feel that that's not accurate. And that is because Becky's exact words were, Mayor Curran, where do I even start? For 2 years, I've had a front row seat to the interaction between you and the commissioners. It's no secret between us that I believe the responsibility for this council's drama rests squarely on your shoulders. I can appreciate that it's not easy to find a consensus among 4 commissioners who have strong personalities and visions for the city, but good leaders find a way. I don't believe that that's accurately depicted there with what's written in those minutes. And there was also a listing up here, and I have said this, I believe all the way back to August of 2023, that the minutes did not need to be paragraphs. And up here, it says the topic of events, and it goes on to list pretty much verbatim of what was stated in there. And the law states that it's only needed to have what was voted on and who voted and how they voted. I don't agree, again, that all that stuff should be in there. And if it is, it needs to be accurate. So whatever the council feels on that.
Okay, well,
So,
thank you.
Patty, I do want to apologize. I didn't send you my
No, I
suggested
didn't.
revisions. After all of that, it was like, oh, I'm not gonna talk anymore. So, I mean, I just wanted to stay out of it after that. So, that being said, I did make a suggestion that we just kind of take the direct quotes from Becky out of the minutes at the podium and just say that she wanted us all to work together, be kind, blah, 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 work, all that. But
Okay. Couple things. One, I did send that email. Not that there's an excuse for this portion of it, but I was extremely jet lagged, and I thought I had sent it just to one person directly. I did apologize and did do a reply all, because it was on my phone.
I did apologize for what you said to the council and everything.
Oh, no.
either, though.
Hold on. I believe I didn't interrupt you. So I did not appreciate how you read the whole email, except you redacted some of the things that I think maybe should be told to the public, but you redacted those items that you called
Well, if
lies.
they were truthful, I would.
Okay, well,
I can prove
I don't
them
know
by
if the other
email.
ones are, but point is, you redacted some of the stuff you put out, so but that's fine. So I did say that, I did apologize for sending it to the group, because I did think it was childish. I do think that the minutes were fine as written. I don't have an issue with that, and we did talk about, like I said in the very first part of that email, is true. We talked as a council that if anybody had a concern about the minutes, you'd bring it up here, what the concerns were, and that was not given to the clerk to be able to make any changes on them. So, now that being said, you put out your piece on it. If the council wants to approve them as they were written before, I have no issue with that, with the modifications, obviously, of the spelling errors, or if they want to change the content of it based on what he feels, more than likely to do that. What would the council like to do? Go ahead.
I did send out a second set that I did through the Note GPT, which is a lot more generalized, a lot more run down. So, I mean, you can approve that second set rather than the first set, which are a lot more.
I don't think it's formatted though like meeting minutes, though, is the issue.
should have been, the one I sent out from
Yeah,
AAT.
the one I have here is.
Yeah,
I-
it
probably
is.
for-
I read them both.
Oh.
I think they're both fine.
They are.
I don't think there's an issue with either set. It's general, it describes what
I
happened.
think it was probably on like maybe Monday of
Oh.
last week.
Yeah.
The only thing I would say is whichever way we do it, we need to do that across the board regardless of what it is.
Yeah.
I mean, if you're gonna put every detail in it, then all of them need every detail. If you're gonna cut it back a little bit, just get the highlights, then that's the way it needs to be. All
I
of 'em.
respected and appreciated the second follow-up there because it takes the bias out of there and it takes out anyone's opinion of who wants to have things. And we've gone through this before where people have gone into the office and wanted their quotes in there and others' quotes taken out. And that was why we've argued about this so many times. And I know we look stupid up here arguing about minutes, but they need to be accurate and I feel they need to be truthful. And when you're withdrawing other people's quotes and such to make it seem as if yours were better, however, I don't care. I want them to be very general, as you stated, and just get to the point. They're accurate history moments for the city, and that's how we record that. There shouldn't be anything in there, what I said, and I wanted a pat on the back for saying something. It should be general and not biased.
So, with the second set of minutes that was redone, that was a little more general in nature, were people good with that version? Or did not everybody get a chance to see that? I think it was sent out, I don't know if it was the second day or the third day? Was it the next day?
I'm not, I don't know, I just know.
Either
it was
came
the
out,
last week.
it came out the second day or the next day or the second day.
I think I have it here,
You sent those out, Patty?
August 18th.
Yeah, I emailed them out, I just don't.
Oh,
know
I
if
see
it was
them.
Monday or
It's from 9/8.
Yeah, I got mine on 9/8 at 2:57.
I didn't have a problem with either one. So, I don't want to spend a lot of time on this. Obviously, we have more business to handle.
Nor do I.
So, we can either pass them or we can table them if it's a big enough concern. What does the council want to do? I'll go around the room. Austin?
Well, just I guess it would be worth reading what it says for the part that Rich objected to. It said Becky Kleiner spoke candidly about her decision to retire, expressing gratitude for colleagues and council members and urging the council to overcome internal conflicts for the city's benefit. So I'm fine with that. If we want to do that, that's fine. Again, I also don't want to waste time on this. I do think yes, the minutes should be accurate. But I'm fine with this set of minutes. I'm fine with the other set of minutes. I don't think there's a major discrepancy between the two. So the Note GPT ones are fine for August 18th for me, and I'm fine with September 2nd as well.
Okay. Moyle?
I'm reviewing them right now. I think they look good. For the Note GPT.
You want me to circle back?
Yeah.
McDermott?
Well, I was reading them too, but
I mean, we can table it and just put it on the agenda for next time.
that'd probably be our best bet.
I feel bad wasting time.
I got table on table. Aldridge?
I would go with the generalized, updated version.
Generalized.
The
looks
updated.
like it's
So I got-
bad.
Myself makes 3, so I got 3 people that are
That's
good
fine.
with the general one. Okay, so if I can get a motion then?
Make a motion to pass the updated version of the minutes for August 18th
And the September 2nd?
and the September 2nd.
Okay,
I'll second.
roll call, please.
Okay.
Baldridge,
Aye.
Cullinan,
Aye.
McDermott,
I think.
Almost there. Hang on.
I didn't hear anything.
Hang on. I don't guess, I test. Aye.
Bo-
Moyle,
Abstain.
Curran,
Aye. All right, we got there. Hopefully it won't be so painful next time, but we got there. All right, 7, approve bills presented in the payment, for payment in the amount of $179,047.53. If there's no additions, corrections, or modifications, can I get a motion to approve the bills? That's the corrected number.
Yeah.
Okay.
I motion we approve bills presented for payment in the amount of $179,047.53.
Second.
Roll call, please.
Baldridge,
Aye.
Cullinan,
Aye.
McDermott,
Aye.
Moyle,
Aye.
Curran,
Aye. Number 8, approve payroll for September 15th, 2025 in the amount of $76,798.22. If there's no additions, corrections, or modifications, can I get a motion to approve the payroll?
I'll make a motion
we
that we
approve.
approve the payroll.
I don't know if Matt, give it to
Somebody
Matt
say
if he
second.
wants.
Second.
Yeah.
That didn't actually help who did first then, but.
Baldridge,
Aye.
Cullinan,
Aye.
McDermott,
Aye.
Moyle,
Aye.
Curran.
Aye, I think I heard Austin do the motion first, but it might have just been because he was
Whichever,
closer.
doesn't matter. That was a
All
good
right,
start.
number 9, old business, discussion and vote on recommendation for plan commission to approve the Griffiths site plan updates as amended and also to approve the special use permit. My understanding is the plan commission looked at it and they made a recommendation to approve. So I'll go around the room. Austin.
Can I say something
Oh,
maybe
please.
first, Jason? I'm sorry. Ken sent me an email to summarize what they said. So he says the plan commission unanimously accepted the site plan and recommended the special use permit be approved. All of the issues, including stormwater management, were resolved to the satisfaction of the commission members. So I thought maybe you should know that before you start talking about it.
Austin.
They know much more about it than I do. I'm going to defer to them.
Hillary.
Yep, same.
Mac.
I agree with the plan commission's
Okay.
approval.
Rich.
I'll accept the recommendation.
Yep.
Okay, I agree. I appreciate it when the plan commission, I mean, that's why we have our boards. They take the time to dive into the details and look at it, so I appreciate it.
Absolutely.
All right, there's no further discussion. If I can get a motion to approve the recommendation.
Make a motion to approve the recommendation from the Griffiths site plan.
I'll second that motion.
Roll call, please.
McDermott, or I'm sorry, Baldridge,
Aye.
Cullinan,
Aye.
McDermott,
Aye.
Moyle,
Aye.
Curran.
Aye.
Can I make one comment?
Yes,
Is
sir.
it the Griffith plan or is it Oglesby storage?
It's Oglesby Storage, Ken.
Yeah, so make the correction
Oh.
on your motion. You made a motion to.
I'll make a motion.
We'll amend the motion, because on the agenda, it says Griffiths plan, but, okay. All right. So, can we get
We'll make sure the ordinance says Oglesby Storage, Ken.
okay, thank you. B,
you,
follow up
sir.
on court enforcement Curran. I actually just got off the phone with the building inspector right before I got here, so, I know we talked about it last time and we wanted to get some information. Did you wanna talk about what you found first, maybe?
Well, I sent you an email today. I actually looked at it the day after our last meeting, but then got bogged down with some other issues. But, you have code enforcement provisions all over the map in your municipal code. You know, it's with regard to buildings, it's with regard to parking, it's with regard to pretty much everything. So in order to change your code enforcement, we might have to amend all those sections of your code and have them all jive together if you want to appoint something like a code enforcement officer who's gonna have all of these capabilities. I'm not sure you need to do that, honestly, but I don't make these decisions, you guys do. I think you have provisions in there that largely allow your police department to handle these enforcement procedures. And unless there's a problem with the way those are playing out, I don't know why you'd wanna change them. As I pointed out in my email, there are some municipalities that have completely revised their code enforcement and have gone to a code enforcement officer. And they authorize that officer to do all of their code enforcement. And they even often set up an administrative hearing department to hold administrative hearings in-house about once a month to hear the violations that the code enforcement officer brings before them. We actually did all this for Spring Valley a couple of years ago. And it's playing out pretty well, except that it cost the city money to hire an attorney to come and administer those hearings, and hire a code enforcement officer to pursue these matters that your police department is now doing for you, so.
So, Austin, you don't remember if that, I don't know if that part of the conversation came up with Marcel's in Ottawa, if they had a, like a group-
Administrative hearing
Yeah, I
procedure?
don't remember hearing that from them.
I don't remember.
That part I don't remember. So I think the debate that we talked about last time was, I'm kind of in favor of selecting a person for that. I know Rich said he'd rather have it be somebody that's inside the employee that's already in a role that we already have. Either way, I'm good with. I do think that we need a designated person though with that authority. So however we decide to do that, whether it's an individual or a new individual or whoever, is it possible, do you think, to write our code in a way to where somebody can be given that authority and just point to all those different things as far as code enforcement? We don't have to, do we have to adjust every single one of them, do you think?
Well, I think we need to be clear about it. I mean, we could just write a new ordinance and say any ordinances in conflict with this are revised to conform. So that would largely take care of that, but do you want a code enforcement officer dealing with parking tickets? Do you want a code enforcement officer dealing with any violation, or is it just building? You know, I don't know. You gotta decide where you wanna draw the line and what you want the code enforcement officer.
So I haven't,
Spring Valley hired a code enforcement officer. They hired Eric Carls, actually, who's the Peru, city engineer. He runs a company that does code enforcement.
well, I'll go around the room here to give everybody an opportunity to put comments on, it, but my understanding is I haven't heard, and somebody can correct me if I have this wrong, I don't know if we've necessarily had parking related issues in itself. It's been issues where people are parked in places where they're not even allowed to park, like in grass, or lawn issues, or now there's building code violation, things like that cops really wouldn't know how to do. So that's why I do think it's good to have a person, whether that's the building inspector or we hire somebody specifically for that. So, kind of go around the room, see what we think about this.
So, I mean, if you say, Pat, that you feel as if our code allows or empowers the police department to enforce these codes, I mean, obviously, for something like the building code, we're not gonna have we're not gonna send the police chief in to, see if something is up to code building-wise. But couldn't we send in the building inspector with the police chief, or, a police officer, or whoever that's delegated to in the police department? And
Absolutely.
they could cite somebody at the recommendation of the building inspector?
Absolutely, and there's nothing in here that would prevent that from occurring.
I think that's probably the best way to go about doing it.
Yeah,
Okay.
I might agree with that, Austin. I think it's a good solution.
So what you're saying is a change to our current procedure that we already have authorizations to do, is what you're saying?
Yeah, I suppose so, but we wouldn't require any sort of legal changes, no.
No legal changes,
Yeah.
procedure, okay.
And I've had some talks with Chief Margus about this, and we've talked about how there seems to be kind of a lack of communication on some of these enforcement issues that come out of the clerk's office, because he's unaware of them. The nice thing about using the police is they can document it. The letter has been sent, they can deliver the letter, they're aware that it's happening, they're the eyes on the street. If there's a stop work order, they're aware, and now they can document if somebody's violating that. So I think that we can really improve on the communication between these departments to allow the police to enforce some of these things better.
I know on the police department's website, there's like a form you can submit for code violations, I think, right? Is that correct? Is that what that is?
Mm-hmm.
Okay. So, I mean, I think it would probably be beneficial, I mean, if somebody had a code complaint, to submit it to one spot, so they can all be tracked, and so you don't have this miscommunication. I mean, I think, if City Hall receives a call about somebody in violation of building code or whatever, I think that should be forwarded on to the police department. I just think that would make the most sense.
Okay. Mac?
Well, I actually agree that what we should do is let the police go with the engineer and go that route. I don't feel that they need to worry about parking tickets. That's
Well, that's the police department's
the
job.
police department's, that's
Um,
not,
I think it's a good idea to at least try that and see how it plays out. I think it'll work much
Yep.
better. Email's a good way to blast communication to all the necessary
yeah.
people to get this on their plate. And I think it's a good way to start. It might be the building inspector, it might be the zoning enforcement administrator, depending on what the code violation issue is. But I think the police department's the place to start.
Okay, Rich?
I would just like to point out that we're not trying to go after the citizens. We understand there's some problems with some neighbors. They probably don't do it all the time. Maybe they don't mean to have that happen with their grass grew long or anything. We're not trying to bust everybody and just hassle them. That's not our intention here. What we do want to do, though, is make neighbors happy and let them understand that we are trying to help when your neighbor's parking 5 cars in the lot there or burning tires or something. And I had spoken to Commissioner Moyle there and also Building Inspector Lavens. And I think we've all agreed that a little more communication would go a long way here. Again, we're not trying to just go out and arrest anybody or send them to the courthouse or anything like that. I don't believe we need anyone more, because I think we could work this out in-house, as I said before. And that's what I'd like to try to do. So I would like to send those things out, like Chief Margus said there, anybody's welcome to file those and you can work on it from there.
Okay. I'll echo one element of that is it's true. We're not trying to make life difficult for residents, but you have to understand that whether it's myself or other council members, we'll get contacted by different residents upset about something that they've said something about numerous times again, and maybe the police have already tried to handle it once in the past, and it's a problem just keeps coming back. I'm all for finding whatever the end solution is. If you think we have something in our current code that's strong enough, that's fine. If we want to just do a procedural thing, so the procedure difference, it sounds to me, is whether it's the zoning administrator or the building inspector, that the police would utilize them to verify if something is broken code or whatever, and then they would send the letters. What I think is, and again, this is just my opinion, I'm for trying something that, as long as we are trying to solve the problem. My fear is, and this is what I liked about Marseilles and Ottawa so much and why I think it's successful, is if they have to go to the point to where they send a letter, there is an administrative fee that's already assessed. Because we have sent letters in the past to people, right? And the problem gets rectified temporarily, and then it comes back, and then the process starts over again. So if we've got a means to circumvent that to where that's not gonna continue to happen, then I think it's good. So if we wanna put something together between the building inspector, the zoning administrator, and the police department to how we can better coordinate that, I'm all for that. But I think we should, hopefully, that means if we do this, that means in another month, we should start seeing some better type of improvements, because the number of people that, I don't know how people are reaching out to you, but I get a lot of people reach out to me that are very upset about these things, and that's why I put it on the agenda. So, anybody else have anything else on that at all? Go ahead.
I just wanted to touch back on the administrative fees. I had two things I wanted to talk about.
Sure.
So if we wanted to talk about administrative fees, I'm not against that. I think that might be beneficial as well. But we need some kind of tracking system as far as when letters are being sent, and that's
Yep.
where communication is really key, is when they're gonna assess these administrative fees. And I think we have to update our code in order to allow that.
Yeah, you do.
The other thing I wanted to touch on was fire code. Who is responsible for reviewing that and
Fire
new
chief.
builds?
Would
Are we
be your
gonna?
fire chief, wouldn't it?
I just wanted it to be clear that the fire chief is the
believe it
person
would be.
responsible.
It should be, yeah.
My understanding was the building inspector that checks to make sure that something's to code yet. I don't know if the fire chief, and maybe I'm wrong, I didn't think the fire chief went into every new build that looks at that.
I don't think we've done it in the past, but I think state statute does give them that authority. But is that what we're doing? I'm new here. What do we?
I believe
what
in
has been
bigger
done?
cities, the fire chief does go in and give them an order to occupy. I could be completely wrong on that, but usually in bigger cities, they have a occupancy
Permit. Yeah.
thing on the
Permit.
wall that says 75 people or such that could be in the building. So, again, I think that's something that Oglesby may not want to get into at this
I personally
time.
think your building inspector is probably tasked with the job of inspecting those new builds, but if he or she has any questions about whether it meets code, I would suggest they should bring
Okay.
in the fire chief.
All right.
It was just a specific question that someone had reached out to the fire chief about, and he wasn't sure if he was supposed to be handling this. He didn't want to step on anybody's toes, so that's why I thought I'd bring it up here.
So Hillary, let me reiterate what I think I'm hearing from you. You want to have something that we have a better tracking system within the police department of how we track.
Yes,
letters
or
that go out.
between the clerk's office and the police department.
But when you mentioned
Parties
something about the
involved.
administrative fees, because that would be something that would require a code modification. Are you saying that you'd like to look into that, or do you want to try to see if we can solve it just by tracking the letters better first? Or which one?
I
Need a
think
code.
we need to track them and potentially issue
So you
administrative
want to
fee.
look into possibly administrative, okay.
Does anyone know what the surrounding cities' fees are?
Absolutely.
I thought, I don't want to talk out of turn when it goes on, and the news reports it wrong, but I thought it was in excess of $100 from Ottawa.
I
wanted
thought I
to-
heard something about 125.
I thought it was
last time.
125 as well. That's why I thought for us, a straight 100 would be good, but I mean, we gotta get a process in place first before we worry
Right.
about what the number is. If that's something that, so I'm for that. Hillary, if you're for that, do I have anybody else in the council that's for
Yeah.
looking into that?
That would be.
Sounds good to
Well,
me.
in that case, it sounds like what we could do is maybe give a motion to have Pat see if he can develop at least that aspect of it. Not creating the position of anything like that, if we think we already have all the authority, but just how to be able to send an administrative fee when a letter has to be generated like that.
I could create a fairly simple ordinance that would say, in the event the city sends out any code violation notice in any capacity, you know, there will be a fee charge of $100.
Okay.
Sounds good.
Okay, can we get a motion for that then, if everybody's in agreement?
Motion for what?
Yeah.
It says follow up on code enforcement. I don't know what
It just says
make
follow up?
Yeah.
Oh, we are
doesn't
following
really-
up.
Do we
Yeah.
have to make a motion to have Pat draft that?
If Pat's
Well,
technically,
that's technically
Right.
what's on
when
the
we,
books now.
there was a
Okay.
change year
I
and a
will
half
make a
ago.
motion to have Pat draft an ordinance to apply an administrative fee for code violations.
I'll second that motion.
Roll call, please.
Baldridge,
No.
Cullinan,
Aye.
McDermott,
Aye.
Moyle,
Aye.
Curran.
Aye. Okay, C, sales tax on groceries. Cullinan.
Yeah, so, state of Illinois assesses a 1% statewide tax on groceries, which will be going away, which we get a cut of, which will be going away on January 1st, 2026. In order for us to keep that 1% that we would be getting from our cut of that, we need to file an ordinance with the Illinois Department of Revenue by October 1st of 2025, if that's something that we wish to do. My recommendation personally, and I mean, we can talk about this is why I threw it on here, I kind of wanted the council's opinion. My recommendation is to actually hold off on that. I wanted to bring it to your attention because it is a source of revenue that we'll be losing as of January 1st of 2026. But our sales tax numbers this year are relatively strong. Between where we're at in this calendar year and last calendar year, I have as of 9/8, but I actually think it's as of today. I updated it today. We're about $82,000 ahead in sales tax from where we were at this point last year, which is pretty substantial. So I don't think, I don't know what other people think about it, but I don't want to kind of give the impression that we're trying to nickel and dime people and whatever. I actually think for all of the complaints that people might have about the state of Illinois, this is probably one thing they got right, repealing the grocery tax. So it'd be my recommendation, and especially because we probably don't sell a ton of groceries. I mean, I know stuff at the gas station might count, stuff at Dollar General might count, but it would be my recommendation that we do nothing on this. I just wanted to bring it to everybody's attention and have a discussion about it.
Okay. Moyle?
I mean, I guess I would be interested into looking into this a little bit more because we're currently paying that tax and it's going away.
So currently that tax is assessed and we get a cut of it from the state of Illinois.
Okay.
So.
Okay. Yeah,
And
I'd like to look.
If I can chime in just for a bit, if you don't take action on establishing the tax tonight, you have until the end of this year to do it, because the ordinance has to be approved tonight. It's not on the agenda, so you can't approve it. And it has to be received by the Department of Revenue by October 1st, and you're not gonna have another meeting unless you wanna call a special meeting
That's
to
true.
approve the grocery tax. So
Austin and I talked a little bit this
you
on
have
Friday.
3 months to figure it out. guys,
Okay.
I guess is what I'm telling you.
3 months.
Well, so
Between now and the end of the year.
Yeah, no.
I'll
yeah,
update that.
it's
Austin and I talked about it on Friday, and I did some research on it on the weekend. I'll update that. What you have there is accurate, but there's a little bit more detail in it as well. We're not completely out of the woods, but I'll go around and let everybody finish. Mac?
Well, I'm interested in hearing what you have to say, but
Okay.
go ahead, Rick.
Rich?
I don't know enough about it here.
Okay.
I wanna learn more.
So, Austin and I talked about it on Friday, and I did know about it for a while. I seen it from the IML. They talked about it, and yes, we do have until October 1st if we want to get the tax still happening by January 1st.
Exactly.
So, I'm not really a fan of that. Granted, we don't bring a lot of revenue in. Now, if we were a much larger city that had a Hy-Vee or a Walmart, that's a significant portion possibly of their revenue stream that they bring in. Then it'd be something to talk about. For us, I think it's very minimal. Plus, if it's one thing that we can give to our residents that we don't assess that tax to them, I think it's a good thing, because I mean, right now, if we ever were to get a grocery store, I'd like to have some kind of competitive edge that we have, because it'd be very difficult if a grocery store comes in the first place to be as competitive with some of those other places, so having that non-tax might make it a little bit easier. But what I did look into, because Austin was concerned that if we lose our opportunity forever, the write-up on IML does not go into the details for the years to follow, but it does say if we want to start assessing the tax by July of next year, we would have to approve it prior to April.
Correct.
So that makes me think that this isn't a
No, I
shut
think it's
door thing.
rolling, I think you could do it anytime.
So, in my opinion is, if we did decide that we, you know what, we need a revenue stream a little bit better, maybe we do wanna attack this, or if something were to change in the future, yes, I think there'll be opportunities in the future that we could put an ordinance out there and then start getting that revenue stream in. But for right now, I don't know if it's, something that we really want to push though.
And frankly, on something like groceries, I mean, I don't necessarily know how many people are buying groceries in town, but I don't really think that's, if we can give people a break on those specific things, those specific items, I think that's fine. If we were going to do anything with the sales tax, you know, I guess I would rather match our surrounding communities and raise the 0.5% to 1%, but that's a whole nother discussion to have. So, but I think giving people a break on groceries is
Mac, you
Fair
deferred,
thing.
go ahead.
Well, okay, I actually think what we should do is just go ahead and let's coast with this a little bit, see how things pan out. I don't think there's any dire need to raise the taxes in Oglesby any more than what they are.
Yep. And as I said, while there's no specifics yet about how far it goes in the
Right.
future, there is, if we wanted to start getting it by July of next year, we could pass
Sorry
something
about
by
that. You
April.
got skipped
So this-
over.
this isn't the last time. So is there any other
What
discussion
do you
on it?
think, Rich? Go ahead.
That's fine.
Sure.
What's that?
Move on.
okay.
Fine.
I'm
Okay,
fine.
all right, everybody's talked about it, great. D, performance reviews and software, Moyle and Cullinan. So I got Moyle
That's
first,
the
go ahead.
First double, I think.
So Austin and I have been talking about this for a while, especially since Austin got on, but we were talking about maybe standardizing the performance review process. And one of the big things I wanted to hit on was that, you know, October would be like mid-year for fiscal year. I think it's important we have some kind of conversation with our department heads, get performance plans documented. But different from what's happened in the past, I think we need to have pillars or a rubric of what we're grading them on. So that was kind of where I was leading with the discussion, but then Austin reached out with some follow-up stuff and things we've talked about in the past, which I think would be great as well to talk about.
Austin,
Yeah.
since you're next on the list, if you'd like to go.
Oh, sure, I'd love to. I kind of, when I came in and I kind of seen kind of the evaluation process in at least my department, I just thought we'd probably benefit from being more thorough, I suppose. I think that to fairly evaluate an employee, you kind of have to give them the criteria on which they're going to be evaluated. And I think the best way to do that, like Hillary said, is providing some sort of rubric. And so I can, speak to my job. Teachers, public school teachers throughout the state of Illinois are evaluated on something called the Danielson framework. And the Danielson framework is a rubric with, I think it's 4 different domains. And in each of those domains, there's subdomains, and you can score anywhere from an unsatisfactory to a needs improvement to a proficient to an excellent. And, despite all the things, that teachers have to complain about, I think that's one thing the education system actually gets right is the evaluation process. Now, the execution of it, that can, whatever. But I think the structure is there. And so, when I came in and I kind of saw that we're not quite there, I thought it would be a noble thing to aspire towards. And so what I have done is I've reached out to a few different vendors that have performance tracking tools similar to what I use in my job, and kind of saw what they had to offer. And I think we've kind of settled on 2 relatively decent ones, I suppose. But basically what you would have is if we were to, contract with one of these vendors, all employee evaluations would be digitized, they'd be stored, digitally. You'd have the ability to upload or create custom rubrics and track employee performance over time. You'd be able to see things like rater bias. You'd be able to get things like 360 feedback, which is where not only would the evaluator evaluate the employee, but you could also have other people who might work with them, maybe in a different department, or maybe somebody else who contracts with the city would also be able to give feedback, and all of that would go into evaluations and be used to drive discussions about performance. And so I think, quite frankly, it's probably the best idea for not only the city as it's using it to evaluate. I think it's a good idea just so we can have a fair assessment of everybody's performance, and so you don't get somebody who comes in with maybe an axe to grind, and you have somebody with so many years of good evaluations, and then all of a sudden somebody comes in and they have a bad evaluation, and they can't necessarily use that, I believe, as it stands with our collective bargaining agreement, to do anything to anybody employment-wise, but you wouldn't want them to leverage that as a weapon against somebody they had a vendetta against. And so I think it, protects the employees, and it protects us, because ultimately we have kind of a paper trail of, people's performance. So I don't know, kind of rambly, but that's where we're at, I guess. The big thing is, though, and I guess this is something to discuss, the creation of rubrics by which to assess employees. Kind of an interesting topic, because are you going to do something boilerplate? I think that'd be very difficult to do. I kind of feel like you'd have to have each department sit down with maybe their respective commissioner and department head, and maybe some representatives, that are city employees, and maybe come together on what they come together and come to kind of consensus on what they feel would be a fair rubric by which they can be assessed. I know we have something similar to that. Our para joint committee at our school sits down, and they kind of come to an agreement with our administration.
I do have a question.
Hold on.
I mean-
Let him-
No, that's fine.
let him finish.
I'm
okay.
basically done. So
Let him
go
finish.
ahead.
Okay, go ahead and finish.
Mac.
Nope, you're good. Go ahead.
You're saying that's what they do at your job.
Yeah.
And you've hit it on it a couple times, but I got a question that needs to be asked.
Yeah.
Per the employee's contract of this town, are we allowed to have performance reviews?
Not.
That's what I
The
want.
answer
No,
is
Curran, I understand you're laughing about it, but I'm serious.
I'll wait till I speak about it.
The answer
We've
to
already
that-
approved it.
the answer to that question, from my understanding and my
I thought-
discussion with the labor attorney, is that performance evaluations can be done,
it
but
doesn't-
they would have to
doesn't affect the
they would have
wages.
to be bargained into the contract if you wanted to use them for discipline or dismissal.
Let's let everybody, do you want to finish your thing, and then we'll
Well,
go around?
he just said what I was getting at.
Yeah.
Anything else?
That's good.
Rich?
Go ahead, Rich.
So basically, we're looking to discipline employees, spend a little bit of money here to do that, and they're basically ineffective, rendering them worthless at this point unless something's put into the contract. Other than we have something on file which
Oh, yeah, it's gonna-
still puts
You
them
gotta put
as,
a
Well, one at a
contract
time.
on to do it.
One at a time. Go ahead.
so I just don't think software, I still believe in the community telling us like, hey, Bob hasn't been doing things, and when you look at it that way, we don't need to have software that is going to do nothing either. I mean, I don't agree with it.
Okay, a couple things. I agree with actually both points, and there's some merits to both of it. I think evaluations for employees is a great thing. It is. The background here that, and I think you guys, we talked a little bit about this. What we did early on, and probably approved a year and a half ago, we approved in our discipline policy that we have the right to do employee evaluations. Each department, each commissioner has that authority to do that. So when you said you wanted to see, the interesting thing is you said, not that I'm arguing with it, but you said you wanted to see something that's more thorough. Actually, the only department that I believe that has been doing, other than police reviews, they have their own process pretty hammered out, was actually the clerk's office. And I thought Becky did a pretty good job. The ones I saw looked pretty thorough, and there was good stuff there. So those were actually thorough. The other departments haven't been doing them. So where it's a conflict is, again, I like the idea of having something that does employee reviews and everybody's getting them, that's wonderful. The problem with that is our form of government, every commissioner has their authority to do what they want in their departments, and they can evaluate as they see fit.
That's why
So-
this needs to be a council level discussion.
I know, but, so my issue with that is, it's kind of counterproductive to what the authority that we've already given everybody. That's why I said, we've already given everybody's authority. If you want to evaluate your employees, you are more than free to do that. You actually have a process timeline of how often you can do it, all that stuff that we've already approved. And I think it even went to the labor attorney, and the union looked at it, and they, yep, it's legit. So, the only thing I wish was happening is that every department was doing the evaluations. Do they need to be as detailed as what the clerk's office did in the past? Do they need to be a formal system as what police do? I don't know. I have no problem if we want to create something like that. I don't know if we need to, I agree with Rich, I don't know if we need to go as far as having specific software, because you did talk about greater bias. The problem with greater bias is every commissioner will have their own, and the only time you're gonna be able to tell if there's any greater bias is if you go over a long period of time and you have new commissioners and new people roll in. So how much does that really help your current situation? It really doesn't.
Yeah.
That's the point I'm trying to make.
I guess my big concern is the evaluations that I have seen. It's kind of more so of I think you do this well. I think this needs to be improved, and that's kind of the extent of it. I think the employees have kind of, and I'm actually, I mean, I'm coming at this from the perspective of protecting the employees. I think the employees have a right to know what exactly they're going to be assessed on, what the criteria is going to be. I think to just arbitrarily say, and not, I'm not saying that the evaluations I saw were totally random and arbitrary and not relevant, but I think just to say, well, you know, this part of your job you do well, but maybe leave out another part of their job that they do well in the evaluation. I don't know. I just think that you need to be very clear as to how they're being assessed, for it to be a fair assessment. And not only for that, I mean, even if we're not necessarily using it for the purposes of discipline or dismissal, I think ultimately the whole purpose of evaluations beyond that is to give them pointers on what exactly they can improve upon. And how do you expect somebody to improve, you know, if you're just kind of spitballing like, you know, this is fine, you know, that's, you know, could work on that. I just think you need something a little bit more concrete. I mean, you know, again, I'm not trying to, you know, I don't exactly know how well, you know, and I guess it's been a topic of conversation, you know, how well my educational background fits in to the city council. But, you know, if I give a student a project, I feel it's only fair to tell them, you know, how I'm going to grade the project. Just to say, oh, well, I think that's, you know, you get a 20 out of 25 on that. I don't think that does anything for them. How do they know on what they have to improve upon? You know,
I agree with you that there's value in detailed evaluations. The problem is, the form of government we have is every commissioner can choose how they want to do that. And we've given them that authority already. So what I would recommend is if you have a rubric thing that you'd like to recommend, that we give as a general thing, you could create that. The problem is, it's still gonna be up to each commissioner if they wanna do it or
well,
not.
yes, I know, and that's why this is a council level discussion. And you know, I think Hillary and I have talked about it, and we like the idea. And I mean, if other commissioners aren't necessarily, you know, gung ho about doing it in their departments, that's fine. But it was just, you know, we kind of want to get a consensus or an impression of where people are at on this. So
I'd like to clarify, as a union member, guy that's worked for 26 years in the trades, I believe that the workers are entitled to confidentiality as well. And I think that someone making a statement here that the other commissioners aren't performing these, I think is kind of not a very smart thing to say. It could not be true. I don't think that anybody here would know if I'm giving any performance reviews, and I don't think that they should know, because it's something, as you stated, the employee, you're giving them direction on how to go forward. It shouldn't be something where the council is made aware of it. It's to tell the employee what you like, what you dislike, and how they can improve and work on things.
And so that's what the conflict is.
Hmm.
So
Yep.
if he believes his method of giving guidance or
Mhm.
evaluation is acceptable, then that's what that is, and that's
Yeah.
how it works. So I do believe what you're thinking about when you say performance evaluation is there's a formal evaluation, it's done, it's put in that employee's file and filed away. Again, I have no problem with that. But again, so let's back up and go to practicality. Let's
Yeah.
say you two vote on it and and I vote for it, right? Now you got 3 people saying, this is what we're doing as a council. And you've got 2 commissioners that want to evaluate their own method. How would you enforce that? You're not going to be able to.
We're not talking about enforcing it upon unwilling commissioners. We're just talking about if there's any merit to the idea across the board.
Okay.
And so if other commissioners don't think there's merit to it, then that's fine. I mean, nobody's gonna compel them to do something that they don't wanna do because they ultimately have the executive authority over their department.
Yes.
So,
Okay.
but for what it's worth, I do think that it's worth it to give more than just, yeah, this is good, that's not so great, and whatever.
I
you
think
know.
it's important that they're invited to the discussion to come up with goals for their own professional development. It's not necessarily supposed to be a means of discipline, but what do you see as long-term goals for your
Exactly.
department head? And what do you wanna see? And then it's documented. So if I get hit by a bus tomorrow, we knew what we were working on.
I completely agree.
Yeah.
So, what do you guys think about that for your departments? Is that something you're interested in?
I'll have to look at it some more, I guess.
Okay.
I guess I need a little bit more feedback. Do you want me to send you what I'm thinking of doing, or how do you want me to follow up with this? Because I already kind of have some general broad pillars that I was going to grade them on, I guess, essentially. But communication, teamwork, safety, skills, and ability. That's pretty broad.
Okay, but you're looking at not using it as a discipline.
No.
So why are we doing it? I mean, when
If there
people-
were a
every year-
disciplinary problem, though, you would have to have some kind of documentation.
Right, every
Well,
year you can go up to
Hold
people
on,
and ask them for
yeah.
their
One at a
opinion.
time, please. I think you might have been talking first. Go ahead.
It's all right. Go ahead, Austin.
Well, yes, but I do think that would have to be, I think it would have to be in the contract, though, that you could use whatever evaluation you were
You would
doing
have to.
for the purposes of discipline or dismissal. But, no, I agree, Hillary. I think that having some sort of professional goal setting and having some sort of criteria which you can track over time to see employee progression or to see maybe employee regression is a worthwhile thing. I don't know. I obviously can't speak for the city employees, but I don't know how much guidance they get about their performance, and not in any sort of paternalistic, like overbearing, kind of nitpicky sense. But I really don't know to what degree you have those discussions are happening about performance and goal setting and stuff like that. And I think this would be worthwhile for that. If it's something that we want to do department by department, I'm okay with that too. Doesn't bother me. But I think there needs to be, even with what I see in my department, I think there needs to be something more. So.
I agree with everything you're saying, but when you said the part about how it might happen in every department, every department has that
Doesn't
authority
have to.
right now.
Yep, doesn't have to.
So, I guess the question is, before we keep going around the circle, is this something that we want to look into more as a full council that we're going to do this, or are we just gonna continue to leave it at the departmental levels discretion?
If everybody's fine with just delegating it individually, I'll go ahead and pursue this in my department. But maybe there needs to be a test run. Maybe it needs to happen in one of the departments. Maybe the other departments would see the value in it. I
Okay.
totally get that.
I think what I'm hearing is, you think there should be a citywide.
I think there should, but
Same thing with you, I think I heard?
I
Yes.
agree. Like, I would
Okay.
like some direction. Do you want to know what I'm doing to see if it would work in your department?
Okay.
Well, I'd be interested in looking at it, that's for sure. I'm not saying that I'm totally against it, but there has to be some guidelines.
Okay.
I mean, even between departments, there's different needs in the clerk's office compared to the streets, compared to even the electric from the streets. Okay? And in the police and fire, that's a different ballgame on its own. I know, I'm familiar with that very much.
One thing just to shadow on what he said there, that is true. In all fairness,
Well-
your departments are very regimented, you know what I
Well,
mean?
they're all unique.
They
Yeah.
have hierarchy for ratings and things like that already. The other ones are a little bit more complicated when it comes to other types of labor stuff like that. So, Rich, your thoughts?
Yeah, I've spoken to Commissioner Moyle about this before. I have no problem working with her. I do appreciate her suggestions, and I agree with them. Just as with the contract, I work pretty good with her. I have no problem with that. I do not believe, though, that we need to spend any money on software. Money is quite tight right now anyway, and I think good old-fashioned papers and some communication will be just as effective.
All right, so what I think I heard as a consensus was, if you're working on something for an evaluation thing that you'd like to share out with people, and then they can look at it, and we can go from there if we want to implement it council-wide, or if we want to just implement it within their own departments. Is that the general consensus, what I hear?
Yeah, that's
Okay,
fine.
we can move on?
Yep.
All right. Number 10, new business. A, cameras for public buildings. Moyle.
Well, I don't really want to harp on this, but, I mean, we all protect our personal properties with cameras, and I've noticed that we're kind of lacking in all of the public buildings. Is that something we want to look into investing into just for purposes if someone came in here irate, there would be no documentation of it at all, or anything whatsoever? Does anyone,
This building?
there's no camera.
Any of them.
We have, our cameras don't work? Yeah,
That's
Oh.
great to
Yeah.
advertise.
we won't say where they are,
Yeah.
but we, City Hall is secure, everybody. But are you talking about, that's why I wasn't sure, I thought you meant like the other buildings, or are you talking about
Like,
this one?
and other buildings too, yeah.
Okay. Well, this one has, I can't remember, there's 4, well, I shouldn't say the number, I guess, but I think there's more, is what I thought. I know a while ago, one of the things, well, you know what, let me go around the room, if you want to talk first. Matt?
Well, I'm definitely for putting them in all the buildings, absolutely. And I think we need something to actually track the vehicles. I know that's not popular between employees, but it's something we need to do. That way it'll track if there's been an accident, if somebody's hurt, or hey, we haven't heard from this guy in a while. Just like they do in the squad cars. Okay?
Okay.
That
Rich?
makes sense.
This all has been looked into and discussed previously.
All right.
I look forward to hearing the council's opinion at this time, and I'd like to implement something as well.
Okay, Austin?
I mean, I don't know what cameras we have in what buildings or whatever, but
We need 'em.
I would think there should probably be at least one or a few cameras in each building, so.
Okay. Yeah, the only thing I've talked about in the past is, I thought the buildings that are cambered up, it'd be useful to have audio. Because I don't know if that's true in all buildings, and I think that there could be some reasons. And that's why I also said if we wanted to talk about this, because when it comes to security, if it's for security reasons, we can actually talk about this in closed session. If it's for security purposes. If it's for any other purpose, then I believe it has to be. Is that true?
That's true.
So if it's for security reasons, we can talk about this in closed session at a later time. But if it's for any other reason, yes, then we can talk about it openly. I don't have a problem if, whichever route somebody wants to go with. You wanna talk about it as far as security goes?
I feel like we got a general consensus that we want to move forward with potentially looking
Absolutely.
into securing our public buildings.
Okay.
Right?
Absolutely.
Well, in that case, I don't know if we need a motion for anything. Do you wanna
No.
just engage, probably the police chief and have some recommendations maybe, for what good options might be to have around for different buildings to put something up? Maybe we can put together a cost package or something like that and then put it in front of the council?
Mhm.
Sound good for a consensus? Or does anybody else wanna talk more about this?
No.
Okay. New business B, scheduled overtime, Moyle.
Well, I also sent an email about this. But the idea of scheduled overtime, this is not for emergency, this isn't for water leaks or anything like that. How does scheduled overtime happening in the departments as far as approval from commissioners? Is this talked about, or who is making these approvals and decisions?
Mac?
Well, I know in my departments, they call me and let me know, and then I'll have to make a decision. Like there was a time where they said, Mac, we need to get something done. We could do it on Saturday, but it's gonna take more time. Or if it's on a Sunday. You know, we have to weigh everything out. That's the way we do it in ours.
Rich?
I understand it. It does need to be addressed. I don't believe there's a problem with anyone that I oversee, really, but, I definitely think that it needs to be watched.
Austin?
I mean, the only stuff on, the timesheets for my department, would be, for this meeting at least, would be stuff related to council meeting stuff, so, I guess, I don't know, I didn't necessarily get that approved ahead of time, but I think it's just kinda common sense that, you know, the city council meetings would be overtime if an employee receives overtime, so.
So, I look at overtime, there's two things, right? There's emergencies, when something's broke or something like that, we really can't control that. Whatever, something's broke, whatever the overtime is, that's gonna happen. I think what you're talking about is the things that we know, like maybe a planned outage, or maybe there is a special event, like I know we'll have, what do they call that? The twig and whatever the branches pick up, or sometimes they have to get caught up on, leaf pickup or something like that. I think those are kind of routine things that the commissioner looks at and goes, yeah, if you want to put another 2 hours in on this day for these 4 days or something like that to get caught up, I think that's within their thing. I think what you're really probably trying to head on is the ones that we actually have some control over, which might be like an event, like how many police officers are doing overtime because they're watching a race or this event, or they're helping with that, or our people are setting stuff up. I think what we should do in this regards is when it comes to our events, because we talked about this a little bit with events, I think when we do the appropriations ordinance, I think we should break it down a little more detailed to say how much we're setting for each event. So that way, the commissioner, the council can be a little bit more hands-off. You give our event coordinators the ability to operate within a budget, but I think it's our responsibility to have those department heads to say, hey, this is what I'm estimating for us to do this job, for us to do Fun Fest. This is how much the Parks Department is gonna have to put in for it. This is how much I'm expecting for the police officers for what we know that we put ever. And as long as those are anywhere close to accurate for when the event happens, I think that's a way for us to budget. To me, that's the best way to handle scheduled overtime, if that answers your question. Go back around if you have anything.
Well, I understand what you're saying is budgeting it, but that would be a dollar figure, correct? When you're putting it in like an appropriations ordinance.
Yeah.
So.
Well, it's based on how many hours, like your chief tells you, like, yeah, I'm gonna need 10 officers with about 4 hours overtime each to be able to accomplish whatever that is, or whatever the number is.
Okay.
That's kind of what I'm thinking. Anybody else have anything else on it, or?
I don't really know if we have to specifically put a line item for it and appropriate for it. I mean, if it's broken, I don't really think it's broken now, but, and in the case that it's not, if it's not broke, don't fix it, don't tie your hands with something like that is what I would say, but you don't know when you're gonna need that overtime.
So in specific events, who authorizes the departments to go out there and work the events?
Well, that's why.
Outside of their department, I mean, who's making that authorization?
I don't know how to answer that question. I think when we have the approved events, right, we know what's gonna happen with those events and who's gonna facilitate what. Who's approving how much time it takes to execute that? I think it's that department head. Like, the chief is gonna have to say, hey, I'll give you an example. 5 years ago at Fun Fest, we had so many hours done with police officers, and then we had an incident one year. The next year, we stepped up the amount of hours that we've done to make sure that there's more security for things like that, right? I think we have to set that precedence, and then it's the department head that's going to say, this is how much time is, and I think it's their responsibility to be communicating with their commissioners of how accurate that is. So, like, for example, if you think your street department is going to do 10 hours to support whatever event, moving barricades, whatever, and stuff like that, and they communicate that with you, and all of a sudden on the timesheets, it was 25 hours. That's a conversation between you and your department head going, why do we have this mismatch? You've given me an expectation of what to have, and I'm paying out more than double for what this is, what happened? Is there a reason for this? Is it, or are you, whatever the issue is, I'm not saying there's discipline there or anything like that, I'm just saying you gotta find out what the issue is. I don't know if there's been a specific issue with those kinds of things, so that's why I kinda agree with Austin, are we causing an issue when we don't have an issue? Unless there's something specific.
Well, and not to highlight my departments, I don't think that there's been abuse, but I've not been included in any of those conversations. And just recently, I decided, you know what, I'm supposed to be approving payroll, I'm looking at this, I really should be part of that discussion. So I've now made it a point to do that. But is that how it's working? For events specifically?
Yeah, I would think if you have a concern about that every commissioner talk to their department head and say, hey, how many hours are you expecting for whatever? And if they tell you it's gonna take 40 hours, and you're like, that's a lot, I don't know if I agree with that. Then, as commissioner, you come to the council and say, hey, I don't know if this is an event that we really should be doing or facilitating, because I think we're paying more into it than what you're doing. That way you've done your part as commissioner for oversight over your department, to say, hey, I don't know if it's worth the amount of time that we're putting into this for this. And then that way it gives the rest of the commissioners the opportunity to say whatever they feel.
I think one of the problems right now is communication. On my behalf, I know that I've never really been included in any talks as to what my departments will be expected to do, what they're going to do, what the event's going to be, where it's gonna be, what's going on. So it's really hard to figure out what the scheduled overtime will be, because I'm not even aware of how they're gonna be needed. And I don't know who's directing them, but as their commissioner, I think I demand to know.
Okay. Well, I guess my recommendation is we can task our event coordinators with trying to work with the department heads to come up with what they expect a budget to be for these future events, and then we share those informations with the commissioners, and then if they don't agree with it, then we go from there.
I got a question. Hillary, are you suggesting that the planners bring everything to the council here and we all discuss how many people we need on which departments, or you talking?
Well, that's a good suggestion too. I don't wanna, so,
You're
Lear
all
Oglesby met with me because
know.
they were involving the police, the fire and ambulance in their 5K. So then the expectation before the meeting, I knew what they were gonna do, I knew where they're gonna be, I knew what the expectation of the employees were. I didn't really have much to say, oh no, you're not doing that. That wasn't my role. I was included in the process, and maybe we can improve that. And then it's not a surprise when the timesheets come up without all this overtime.
Well, maybe it would be a
Seems
good
fair to
idea
me.
then, to have it come to the council and, okay, you're gonna need how many people from streets, how many people from electric, how many police officers? Is that what your suggestion?
It could be, yeah. I mean, Harvest Fest is next. So if they reached out to you and said, Mac, let's have a meeting, sit down and say, I'm gonna need the street guys to do this, this, and this for me, then you're included in the discussion, then you're aware of it.
So you bring up a really good point. I hate to
That
get into
would-
the weeds on this at a council level, but you
Yeah, I
actually
know.
bring up a good point. So with Harvest Fest, that's something that's a city-sponsored event. We control that. The example you just gave, which I'm gonna talk about because I thought it was great, but the example you gave was a nonprofit organization was doing an event and they get support from the city for it, and we don't really control that event. In that case, I do think for those, we probably just need to have a better communication with them to determine if that's something that like, for example, turkey trot. That's not it's been a long-standing tradition, dude, we are going to do it. We're doing turkey trot, right? But that is one that's not hosted and ran by the city, but yet we provide support for it, right? In those situations, I do think we need to probably have better communication with them, understanding what the expectation is going to be, whether that's through our event coordinators or the department heads directly. And then that way that information is communicated with the commissioners and stuff like that. I think that's the way to tackle that. It's a good point, because I'll be honest, when Wayo talked about wanting to do the 5K and the car show, I'm just like, it's fantastic. That's stuff that we don't have to do, but there is a cost with it, right? And I don't know if we probably did a great job saying exactly what those costs were. I'm just excited that we have another event going on in the city. So I would recommend that's how we approach that from now on. Anybody else have any thoughts on that? Not that I'm trying to rush or get through these things, I just don't wanna get into the weeds too much. Any other thoughts on that?
I already gave mine. That's,
Okay.
Rich, go ahead. Got any?
Nothing?
Nope.
Okay, all right. We'll continue to look at that. All right. C, Insurance Committee, Moyle.
Boy, I'm doing a lot of talking tonight. So, this was actually a suggestion brought up by an employee, about our insurance and maybe involving them a little bit more in the process as far as what our provider is and the cost, and then maybe developing a committee where they can be a little bit more involved in it, because honestly, none of us are on their insurance. We don't care.
Okay. Matt?
Well, I think we care as far
We
as the
care,
cost,
but yeah,
especially for individual or family.
this gives them a voice.
Yeah, always be good to give them a voice, absolutely.
Rich?
They could have a representative. You go ahead.
Yeah, I think as of lately, it's been kind of an item that's been focused on quite a bit. And the statement that we don't care is kind of not the right thing to say, I guess. But I don't think anybody has cared to this point, because insurance, if you're insured, you're insured. You don't really care until you need the insurance or it's raising up and it's costing you more money. I do believe that we should have a committee, and I believe that the workers should be on that committee, and it should be reviewed yearly so that everybody understands what's going on and tries their best to keep the cost favorable for the taxpayers.
I think it's great that there's employees that want to be on that committee, so all for it.
So, I think there's nothing wrong with having a committee for insurance, right? Because how it usually works is, it's, I don't even know the last time we've had a 2-year insurance thing. I think for the last 4 years, I think it's been every year, right? So we usually get something come November, and we have to decide on something by December. It's usually a short time frame, and our options are low. I don't think there's a problem with having if we want to create a subcommittee for that, or just an ad hoc committee that actually tries to work at that and come up with suggestions. I am a little concerned if you just put employees on that committee. I don't think that's a good idea, especially with our current way our contract is written now. I think it does need to be comprised of people, whether it's commissioners, whether it's residents, or even employees. As long as they have a voice on it and they know what's going on, I think there's nothing wrong with them being more informed about it. In the past, we've had something where they've come and they've done like an insurance presentation on them and stuff like that. But again, there's very low options at that point. So I think having an insurance committee to come and make a recommendation to the council, because in the past, it's the council, we get these options to pick from, and option 1 is bad and option 2 is bad minus $100, right? So I think having a committee that's going to want to talk about those things and give a recommendation is a good thing. I would just be cautious of saying that you're going to fill it with employees. I think it needs to be a cross-section of either council members, residents, or possibly employees.
It could also be volunteers too. We could just
Well,
put volunteers.
That'd be the residents or something like that.
Right.
Yep.
I think it's important we probably have both unions represented, because they are covered by a non-union employee and a retiree as well, because they're also affected by whatever insurance we elect for the city.
Yeah.
So,
What would you like to do? You want to create like maybe an ad hoc committee?
yeah, that sounds,
Maybe of,
what would be, when you say ad hoc, how is that different than any other committee?
I don't even know how I define that.
As needed.
Yeah, I think that's what ad hoc stands for. It's just as needed. Yeah. So we make a board of 7 people. You have 1 person from each union, 1 retiree, maybe 2 council members, and then have 2 residents that would be smart about insurance type stuff. You got a 7-member board. And then they are the ones that look at it and make a final recommendation to the council. And I think as long as we get something like that in place prior to them coming to us at the end of the year, I think that'd be a good idea. And that'd be my recommendation, make a 7-member ad hoc committee, and then we'll start looking for names to put something forth, and then we can vote on it at a future council meeting. That'd be a recommendation. Anyone else have any thoughts on that, good or bad?
No.
Okay, so retiree, the 2 unions, non-union, that's 4.
Then
So
they,
I'm doing a count, how we got up to 7, or how we're gonna.
Oh, you're counting retiree from both.
But
unions.
retiree would also be considered a resident.
Well, one of our goals is to try to merge them, so I don't know if that makes a difference at that point, but
Yeah.
I guess if we're unsuccessful, then it makes a point to have one from each.
I mean, that's fine. And then do we want people to reach out to us saying they're interested, or?
I think that'd be a great thing. I'd love to have some,
Yeah.
you know, so you have council members, we have our skills in whatever we have our skills in, right? And then you're gonna have the union members, right? They're gonna be skilled in their union jobs like that. It would be great to get 2 residents that have a specialized skill set that know about insurance
I'd
type
agree.
things, right? I think that would give some expertise. That's what we look at when we look at our boards, right? When we do our ambulance board, we get people that are EMTs, nurses, people that deal with money, things like that. So I don't think we need to vote on anything tonight. Why don't we just start thinking about who would be some good names for that to fill? And then at a next council meeting, we can create an ad hoc committee. I don't think for an ad hoc committee, we need to have a special
You
ordinance
don't.
for that.
I have one suggestion, which is maybe to include the clerk in that committee, because she's gonna have to administer this program.
Yes.
Okay, all right.
Yeah.
Anybody have anything else on that? All right, let's find some good people to put on a committee and go from there. All right. Whew, I feel like we've chewed through a lot of discussion items. All right, number 11, public comment on any topic. Oh, she was already moving though.
Hi, Kathy Frederick, this is now,
You want to pull there's a little button to pull,
What goes?
yeah, just pull it towards.
it's
the mic.
towards me.
Oh, it is already, I didn't know it was left on.
This is not meant as a criticism, just a suggestion. There was a conversation about the sales tax for groceries. You had mentioned you've known about it for a few months. You two talked about it, but then you presented it just like that and wanted an opinion from council people who heard nothing about it. I realize it's on the agenda on Friday, but this has been a very busy weekend in Oglesby. I would have thought just a heads up, hey, we're gonna discuss the sales tax and you can look into it, would be a suggestion, so you don't have commissioners sitting here not knowing anything that's going on. It's just a suggestion, just a quick email to say, hey, we're going to talk about the sales tax on groceries, whether we should keep it or not. Would have a chance then to look it up and be informed. Just a suggestion.
So the information that I got was from the IML, it was from an IML email, Brad Cole, and it is sent out to everybody. Granted, a lot of those come out on a regular, frequent basis, so I don't know if everybody takes the
And you probably
time.
ignore some of them and don't discuss them here. I'm not saying ignore them
it-
I
completely.
glance at them.
It's
But they're not brought up here, and
There's-
to blindside somebody is my opinion.
There's been headlines about it. Other towns have chosen to keep it. I agree with you, Kathy.
Just,
No, you're right. So,
just an email saying, hey, we're gonna discuss this if you wanna look it up. And,
Yep.
and then if they don't and they're blindsided, that's their problem.
I appreciate the feedback. Thank you.
Thanks.
Thank you.
Ma'am?
My name's Carol Baker. In the last meeting, I addressed 2 issues. One was a sign across our street, and Chief Margus, he looked into ordinance, and he found out that even though sign was up, there's no ordinance to have it, so I appreciate he came to our house, he explained to us the sign will not be put up, and I really appreciate you taking the effort to do that. And the other issue was the sewer problem by my house. I didn't know if you had time, Commissioner McDermott, to look into what can be done about that.
Well, I was talking to Dan about it. We're still trying to look into see if we can do anything better, but a lot of it has to do with the rainwater. It's flushing it down. There's a lot of times that we can't control that.
Because I took it upon myself, and I heard that LaSalle had an issue with their business on First Street, and I got a phone number and called the gentleman. He said that one of the things you could flush the sewers out, but that once they dry out, it's, the order's coming
It's
back.
coming right back.
And so they had big issues, and he said, there's a main sewer on Main Street. And if you go in there and is the catch basin. The catch basin needs to be cleaned out because there could be sewage in there, all sorts of different things. If that is cleaned out, that cleared up on the first street of Lace Out. And if you want to talk to him, I have the phone number and the name of the
Kevin?
person.
Kevin, yeah,
I spoke to.
I know him. I know him.
If you can look into that and see about the main sewer and get that catch basin
I'll
cleared out.
see if maybe we can do something with
Because
similar.
I was told too that on Oglesby here, it goes by Lizzie's, the police department, it turns by our house, and then it goes down to Florence Street, so people on Florence Street have the smell also, so they can't open their windows also.
Okay,
If you could just look into
I'll
that for
see
me.
what we can do. Thank you. I appreciate it.
Thank you. If there are no other further public comments, number 12, Commissioner reports. Commissioner Cullinan.
Okay. So first thing, from We Are Oglesby to the city employees, I want to thank everyone who helped make this past Saturday's Boots, Brews, and Barbecue a success. It's hard to imagine the event being executed any better. We have such an impressive group of people making things happen in this town between both of those groups and others. As always, though, you can always be better and do better. And as such, Jen and the girls in my office will be having their meeting on Wednesday to debrief and go over plans and potential improvements for next year. This last Thursday and Friday, we had 2 of the employees from our office attend a seminar for Civic Systems, which does a lot of the backdoor stuff for our office. Using what they learned, we are looking to implement a forward-facing customer portal for residents within the next month. This portal will allow customers to fill out forms and submit those forms, track those forms, and also make utility payments online. It will also send out notifications. Residents will now be able to get a text message or an email when there is a new bill or communication ready. I don't know if that's something that people really want, but it's going to be an option. We are also exploring purchasing a building permit module, which uses the same digital infrastructure from Civic Systems via a grant from, I think it's FEMA, I heard. So apparently FEMA gives out grants for that building permits, which is kind of interesting. Didn't know that, but something for me to own up to on our YouTube videos. I was bragging at one of the previous meetings about putting chapters on our YouTube videos. I've fallen behind on that. It's my goal to get these videos updated in a timely manner as I owe it to the public, and I also don't want to get behind 4 to 5 videos and then have to put chapters on all those 4 to 5 videos. I don't know if people use them. I would assume they do. They're very convenient. You can track, where you're at in the meeting. So my bad on that. I'll try and get that done ASAP. With that being said, speaking of things being out of date, our online municipal code has not been updated since January of 2024. We reached out to Civic Plus, who does that, and I don't know, there were some wires crossed or something like that. But we've gotten their assurance that the code will be updated soon. If you haven't looked at the municipal code online, it's very, very helpful to get an idea as to what is and what isn't legal in the city of Oglesby. It's available on our city website if you've never checked it out yet. It's pretty comprehensive, and I think they also print paper copies and send it to us, and if you ever get the paper copy, they're pretty cumbersome. Lastly, I just want to commend Jen, our new city clerk, Clerk Spratt, for being able and willing to digest all of the stuff that I have thrown at her since she assumed office as city clerk. One of the things I'm trying to get better at is communication myself, and so one of the things I've integrated is like a task list. We have this online system we use for our emails, and there's task management. There's a task management feature. It's not the best, but I've given her a pretty large list of things to do, and she's done a good job knocking stuff off. There's a million small things that we need to get situated, from those aforementioned municipal code updates to grant tracking to compliance, to digital organization, and she has done a good job at tending to those things. Thanks for your patience. Jen.
Thank you.
Yep.
Commissioner Moyle.
I want to thank everyone who volunteered, attended, and worked over the weekend to make sure that the car show, the 5K, and Boots, Brews, and Barbecue was a success. This is just another reminder that September 27th is the Trifecta Golf Outing. Proceeds support the Oglesby Shop with a Cop program. And you can reach out to Garzanelli's or Archway Tap for more information if you're interested in the golf outing. And then usually I do the first responder of the month as part of my commissioner report. But this month I have opted to let somebody else offer that award to another deserving employee that is not in my department. And then lastly, I didn't do the August recap last meeting, so I'm just going to run through that real quick. The ambulance had a total of 75 911 calls, 5 transfers, 3 mutual aid requests to outside agencies, and assisted in 2 mutual aid requests to other agencies. They also had 2 ALS intercepts for a total of 87 calls. Fire had 22 calls total, consisting of 6 electrical issues, 5 mutual aids, 4 rescues, 3 CO alarms, 2 auto accidents, 1 fuel spill, and 1 odor investigation. The police had 176 park checks, 371 business checks, assisted EMS 50 times, 135 traffic stops, 7 vehicle accidents, and 13 case reports. So we've had a very busy August.
Thank you. Commissioner McDermott.
Okay, first I'd like to thank everybody for their volunteering work for the events. I thought they were pretty good. I would also like to thank the street department for ensuring the safety of our school children by repairing the ADA sidewalk on the street on Walnut. And I wanted to address this council in regards to my request for items to be included to the next agenda. All I want is you to think about it, and if you have any questions, feel free to ask later. The address on Watson Street on Mr. Bellow's property has wastewater but does not have water lines. He is requesting the city to help. Now, this is zoned as a residential property. My question to the council is this: would we or should we like help him out with this? I mean, it's a residential area. It's supposed to have water. It has wastewater. It has sewer line, but it doesn't have. We can't find the water line. It's not zone commercial. It's residential. Also, I'd like to make a suggestion. A suggestion was brought up to me about snow plowing off the sidewalks of Walnut Street. Apparently, a lot of people, they walk up and down the street, even during the winter. If we could use like a lawn tractor or something with a snow plow, that was brought up to my attention. If anybody's got any suggestions on that, I'd appreciate it. Also, the hydrant flush will begin October 6th. Branch chipping will begin on October 13th. Have your branches on the berm by 7 a.m. And please be careful. While the guys are flushing hydrants, be careful of the employees as well as the water on the highway. It'll make the road slick. Leaf vac will begin October 27th, okay? And as far as the dry bridge, everybody, I apologize for the delays. But, however, they're working on a mutual agreement and making sure every I is dotted and T is crossed, okay? If there's anybody with a question on that, the people need to clarify and make sure. That's what's holding up the dry bridge, all right? That's what they told me. Have a good night, everybody. Go ahead, Rich.
Commissioner Baldridge.
As Commissioner Moyle stated, she has nominated the electric department for the recent power outage call-out, of which I'll address a little bit more in my commissioner's report. September 12, 2025, the Oglesby Electric Department. On behalf of We Are Oglesby NFP, we want to extend our heartfelt thanks to each of you for the incredible work you do for our community. Whether it's responding to power outages at all hours, working in difficult conditions, or spending extra time away from your families to keep Oglesby's power on, your dedication does not go unnoticed. We are also grateful for the support you have shown toward community events, most recently with raising of the overhead banner for the weekend. Your efforts truly help make Oglesby a brighter and stronger community. As a small token of our appreciation, We Are Oglesby is honored to be this month's sponsor and provide each electric department employee with a $25 We Are Oglesby Bucks card. This card can be used at several of our member locations, including All In Finish and Paint, Bulldog's Bar, Garzanelli Supper Club, Mercer's Rooftop, MP Automotive and Repair, Starved Rock Lodge and Conference Center, and soon Deer Park Golf Club. Thank you for powering not only our homes, but also our community spirit. We appreciate you more than words can say. With gratitude, We Are Oglesby Board, on behalf of all of our members, Angela Partridge, Kitzler Pagagas, Nick Nasalik, Christian Zeman, and Michelle Whitek. So, thank you to our electric department, and we are over with you.
Did you have anything else?
Yeah, the Parks and Recreation on Saturday, September 27th at 6 p.m. The Parks and Recreation will have their second and final for this year, reviving Lehigh Stage Summer Music with a performance by Harmonics on our grand stage. Residents are encouraged to bring lawn chairs, blankets, and their own beverages to enjoy a free evening for their families of live music under the fall sky. Winter recreation caps will be available for signups online on October 1st. We now have Wi-Fi up and running at Seneca Square, Lehigh Park, and the dog park also, if you pick it up from Lehigh Park. The electric department, on September 3rd, 2025, at approximately 9:20 p.m., Oglesby experienced a citywide power interruption during unstable stormy weather. Amarin substation breaker tripped due to a probable lightning strike, briefly shutting off power before automatically resetting. Following the reset, the west end of town had only a partial power due to storm damage caused by a great amount of damage to both our transformer and switching structure, 70 years old, that feeds the west end of town. The structure was determined it could not be used anymore for reliable service, and we had to replace it. The transformer was able to be fixed. Therefore, I would like to acknowledge our friends at Nobelsdorf Enterprises, who recently located there, and that's known as KE, for being of great assistance and there when we needed them. So a big thank you to them. I would like to take a moment to thank We Are Oglesby NFP for the tremendous job they did this past weekend with the events leading up to the city's Boots, Brews, and Barbecue. I have heard so many positive comments about both the 5K and the Classic Car Show. These events not only brought people together, but also highlighted the pride and spirit of our community. I sincerely hope our residents continue to support We Are Oglesby in all they do. They are a volunteer-only based board organization with 36 members who continuously take pride in supporting We Are Oglesby to support Oglesby. I know firsthand the amount of time, effort, and attention to detail that went into making these events possible. Their dedication truly went above and beyond, and it showed in the way participants and visitors felt welcomed and valued. This September 20th, We Are Oglesby will host movie night in Lehigh Park featuring the original Beetlejuice. Popcorn and candy concessions will be available for purchase, and thanks to the Oglesby Knights of Columbus, guests can also enjoy complimentary hot dogs and water. In true nostalgic fashion, the OG KC crew will be back in Lehigh working hard to serve the community. I also want to thank the city's departments to support them too. It does not go unnoticed by myself and fellow commissioners, and we do truly appreciate each and every one of you. That's all I have.
Thanks. Number 13, Mayor's Report. Okay, Saturday, I really appreciate how the event played out for the day. It was really a long day if you think about it. We had events going all the way from 9 a.m. in the morning till 10 p.m. at night. We Are Oglesby has been doing a fantastic job, not only bringing events like the 5K, the car show, but even I think during the 5K we had somebody all the way from Germany come and participate actually. It was pretty great. I appreciate them so much for what they're able to do and how they're able to integrate into the other entities around town, trying to bring more volunteers, more support, and really bringing more things that we have. Boots, Brews, and Barbecue was fantastic. Really appreciate our two event coordinator ladies. They did a great job. They brought characters in there. They had tastings in there. I've heard both good things from the residents that were at the event, and I did get word from two of the restaurants in downtown that they had a fantastic day. So that's what it's all about, trying to have a good time and bring people together. So appreciate that. Second one is Harvest Fest, is October 18th. Don't have a lot of details about it right now. There'll be more details to follow soon, but right now they're working on two new events, which is a hay rack ride for kids and possibly a scavenger hunt for kids as well. There's a few more other things in the works that they're working on, but they don't have the details worked out just yet. So that's coming up October 18th. Those are the only two things I have. Number 14, executive session to discuss the appointment, employment, compensation, discipline, performance, or dismissal of specific employees, 5 ILCS 120/2C1. Can I get a motion to go into executive session?
Motion to go into executive session.
I'll second that motion.
Roll call, please.
Baldridge.
Aye.
Cullinan.
Aye.
McDermott.
Aye.
Moyle.
I
Curran.
Aye. And there is no planned action items after executive session. Thank you, everybody.
Scared me.
Hmm?
Scared me.
What do you mean? What are you talking about?
Something's wrong.
That wasn't a yell, son. That wasn't a yell. That wasn't a yell. Wait until I yell. I make grown men cry. You'll be crying.
Back, make sure to turn your mic off.
Yes.
Well, it depends.
Well, yeah, it depends.
It's beneficial when it gets up to about 2 or 3.
Yeah.
After that, it goes the other way. We're back in regular session. Roll call, please.
Baldridge.
Here.
Cullinan.
Here.
McDermott.
Here.
Moyle.
Here.
Curran.
Here. Number 15, adjournment. Can I get a motion to adjourn?
Motion to adjourn.
I'll second that motion.
Roll call, please.
Baldridge.
Aye.
Cullinan.
Aye.
McDermott.
Aye.
Moyle.
Aye.
Curran.
Aye. We are adjourned.